hard. Something that really came to my mind as I was talking to someone the other night at a gathering I was at. We were talking about music, and they were really interested in exploring new music. And it's similar to our story. Their kids were introducing them to music they were enjoying. They're our age, and they're trying, and they're enjoying new stuff, but not hip hop specifically. Right. And so I think the flip side is true, where hip hop, at least the hip hop I listen to, which comes from the origins really of hip hop, which is the messaging and the cultural narrative is like street level, eyewitness type narrative. Right. And I believe it's hard for people to understand hip hop to get, as you said, get past some of the vulgarity. I often talk about Run the Jewels. They're extremely vulgar. If you don't listen to hip hop and I played you Run the Jewels, you would never listen to hip hop again. It's very vulgar, dick jokes galore. But the cultural, the messaging about society, politics, it's heavy. I mean, there is good truth in there and really good art layered behind dick jokes, right? And I think a lot of people, they struggle with hip hop because they don't have a frame of reference to understand the context of where it comes from. If you haven't spent time immersed in Black culture, or a culture where hip hop comes from, or at least had enough contact with it, most hip hop is going to escape you. And then you start thinking about the hip hop that it gets really popular, that white people in the suburbs like. You go back to like Jump Around by House of Pain.
Yeah.
It's
Dr.
the
Dre.
narrative there is very simple. It's really just about
Tupac.
partying a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a lot, and occasionally like political stuff kind of comes up because, the average suburban white person maybe can relate to political things, or like the motivational stuff. I think like Eminem's,
Sure.
some of his stuff is just kind of this anger. Everybody can relate to anger.
Yeah.
But most hip hop is just a story of what's happening on the streets in a culture that someone had no experience with. I happened to spend a lot of time growing up immersed in Black culture because I was playing basketball at a high level. So hip hop just comes natural for me. I was secondary witness to some of those realities. And so I could immerse in it. So I think there's something interesting there. And it led me to this conclusion where, for everybody, so listen to me. If you haven't listened to hip hop, your hip hop is out there. We just got to find it. You may have given up because you couldn't get past the vulgarity of some, or the narrative. You couldn't get your mind into the context of the narrative. And so you wrote it all off, but it's out there. There's hip hop that you can immerse in. That's good. So don't give up on the rap. It's good stuff. What do you think, John?
I think you're spot on, man. I love it. I love revisiting that and talking about it, because it can be a genre of music that's easy just to write off, or, to live in the 90s with your hip hop, especially kind of in our, demographic of dudes.
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying to dive back in myself. I'm learning from you, my kids, and just, then it starts getting added to my algorithms, and my, starts feeding me the things that if you like this rapper, then you'll like that rapper. And so again, that's what I'm loving about this process of these conversations we're having is it's reawakening my awareness of what's available around me through culture, and not just living in the past, reliving the glory days. And in the journey and in the discovery of it, it's life-giving. Like it gives me a sense of joy. It gives me, a taste of the beautiful things around that matter, good music, good bites of food, art. I'm keeping my eye open